Hello everyone, my name is Olivia. Today we're here with Eduardo. This is our grad school segment of our interviews with the Academic Advising and Registrar's Office.
Hello, my name is Eduardo Padilla. I'm one of the academic advisors at University College. I specialize in advising students who are in upper years and who are transitioning out.
Our first question for you, Eduardo, is when is the right time to start thinking about grad school applications?
That's a great question. And what I would recommend is to really start thinking about applying to grad schools as early as possible, really, because there are several components that go into submitting a graduate school application. One of them is submitting letters of reference. And letters of reference actually, it takes a while to actually get to know a professor and have a good academic relationship with that professor to actually be able to request a letter of reference. So what I would suggest is start thinking about applying not basically the year that you're going to apply, but I would say at least a year in advance. Because you will need to think, as I mentioned, you will need to think about several components that you need to submit with your application.
Our next question for you is, application periods can kind of be a really stressful time. So could you clarify what grad schools might generally be looking for?
So grad schools look for students and basically they assess students using a criteria that is more holistic, generally speaking. So when they look for students, they obviously want students who are going to be a good fit for the program and students who are going to be successful in completing the program. And the way grad schools go about identifying and assessing students who are interested in the programs is by looking at different components of the application. So they're looking for students who have good grades, students who have experience either volunteering or in research or professional experience, depending on the program you're applying to. Students who have a good academic transcript, meaning not only the grades, but also if there's a certain progression, students should be able to show progression, especially if they started with, the first year was not that great, but that's many students go through that. So you want to show that you've done better over the years. Schools are also looking for, as I mentioned, good letters of reference. So you want to make sure that when you apply to grad school that you have professors who will write strong letters of reference. And also students who have, if they have any research experience or say experience in publications or attending conferences, not expected really for students applying to masters, but that is also a plus because programs will be looking for students who are not only good at learning in their undergraduate program, but who are also good candidates for the graduate program that will be shown in their interest and their commitment to the field.
Our next question is, does it matter if I do a specialist or a major in a program that I might be applying to grad school in?
It depends on the program. Generally speaking, a major is sufficient to apply to a graduate program. What I would recommend is to take a look at the specific programs that you're interested in. If the program requires additional coursework or coursework that is really higher level, more specialized, maybe a specialist would be better than a major. But I would strongly recommend to take a look at the admissions websites of the programs you're interested in. Generally speaking, I would say having a major is sufficient. What is more important than basically the major versus specialist dilemma, I guess, is to focus on your grades and selecting the courses that are a best fit for your interest and that are best fit for the program that you're applying to.
I heard that U of T uses an internal system that lets graduate admissions offices see my grades for CR and CR courses. How does that work?
Yes, that is correct. Now, with that being said, I would suggest connecting with the programs you're interested in because some programs might just take a look at the credit, non-credit, and leave it at that. So while other programs might take a look at the underlying grade, but as far as I know, there's no specific policy as to how transcripts are assessed for applicants in our graduate programs with regard to credit, no credit. So I would recommend contacting the admissions office of the program you're interested in and ask them directly as to how they assess credit, no credit courses, and specifically as to whether they would take a look at the underlying grade or not, if that would matter or not.
Our next question for you is, where can we find support for applying to graduate programs?
Okay, so you can find support with us at University College, but I will mention outside of University College there are at least two organizations that you can approach. One of them is Career Exploration and Education, and they are capable of reviewing your personal statement and reviewing your CV and giving you feedback. So it's a very useful resource. Just check out their website and book an appointment. I believe the name of the appointment would be application review. They also have a guideline on how to write a personal statement and how to write a CV. So I highly recommend approaching them, checking out the resources. The other organization that would be super helpful is the UC Writing Center. So when you are writing your personal statement or your statement of intent, also known as statement of research, they can give you feedback. So take your statement with you to them and have them review it several times. That will be, your statement will be one of the most important pieces of your application. So those two organizations will be very helpful in helping you with that part of the application.
And could you please talk a little bit more about the difference between a master's and a PhD?
Sure, absolutely. So generally speaking, students who graduate from their undergraduate program will be applying to master's programs. Now, a master's program will generally last from anywhere from 1 year to 2 years full-time. Some programs are funded, some of them are not. At the master's level, you want to make sure that if you need funding, that you look at different universities, because University A might have a master's in a specific area that is funded, whereas University B has the same type of master's that is not funded or partially funded. So, highly recommended to shop around. A PhD degree is usually follows after a master's. It's obviously much more specialized. Students are expected to have strong research skills by the time they apply to a PhD program. Generally speaking, PhD programs at the full-time level are funded. So in that sense, you don't need to shop around that much. You just want to make sure that the university you're applying to offers a 4-year PhD program. And yet, do double check that it's fully funded and what the funding package looks like.
And can you talk more about the difference between professional and research programs?
Yes, professional programs tend to be, as the name implies, programs that will actually lead you to employment within that field, generally speaking. So a professional program would be an MD, medicine, or law degree, a JD. So those are good examples of professional programs where your formation is really to become a physician in the MD program or a lawyer in the JD program. When you apply to professional programs, you will be required to provide a statement, a personal statement, which is more about what you as an individual bring to the table and how you're a good fit for the program. A research-based program is generally speaking a program that requires a thesis upon graduation, and it is based on research, building research skills. So when you apply to those programs, you will be required to provide what's called a statement of intent, or also known as a statement of research. As opposed to a personal statement, it is about a research project that you're planning on completing if you're accepted to the program. So in that sense, the focus goes from, instead of you as an individual, as to what you're going to do in terms of a project in the program you're applying to.
All right, this is our very last question. What resources does University College offer for grad school application with us?
So we do have academic advising specific to that. So with the academic advising and registrar's office, so you can book an appointment with us and we can go over your questions one-on-one. We also have some workshops, and we have a certificate that is a co-curricular certificate, and it's on how to craft effective graduate school applications. You can take the workshops even if you don't want to take the certificate. The announcements for the workshops go out with our newsletter, and that's a great resource. We also have a Quirkus space where we have materials that are specific to applying to grad school. If you don't want to take the certificate or attend the workshops, you can just ask us to add you to the Quirkus space, and you can log in whenever you want, and we update it constantly. And we have all kinds of materials that range from writing a personal statement, how to request letters of reference, how to get volunteer experience or what would be considered good experience for applying to grad school, to also materials that are provided by different units at the university regarding applying to grad school. So I highly recommend contacting us to let us know if you want to be part of that worker space.
Well, Eduardo, that was very helpful, very informative, and we'd like to thank you on behalf of the UC Lit and on behalf of the greater UC community for your very helpful feedback.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.